And we're back, and we're moving into our first conversation for today. And we are joined by Ian Anderson, the owner of Ian Anderson's Caves branch. And good morning, I want to say, and thank you for stepping out of your jungle to come to us in the studio.
Well, thank you very much. I'm very pleased to be here with you both.
Thank you.
So Ian, it's interesting because during the course of the pandemic, this is the second time we're talking to you for making what is considered a very bold decision from the tourism sector. The first was saying that you would only accept Belizean, local or Belizean tourists at the time when the airport was open for concerns of them bringing COVID.
Yes.
Moving past that, you have now made the decision that you will only accept bookings from vaccinated persons.
That's correct. As of October 1st.
As of October 1st. So tell me about this decision.
This is a decision I didn't make lightly. I've actually been thinking about this decision for about 3 months now. Mm-hmm. And I think that there's a very large percentage of travelers around the world that are looking for a safe environment to travel to. Mm-hmm. That's one. Two is that I'm highly, highly concerned about my staff. Mm-hmm. And I think the best way that we can keep both our guests to Belize and our staff safe is by taking reservations from people who have been fully vaccinated rather than those who refuse to have a vaccination.
Mm-hmm. Now, given the level of vaccine hesitancy and the population of anti-vaxxers that exists not just in Belize but across the world, you knew that you would get some pushback for a decision like this. How'd you balance it?
You know, if my wife was here, she'd be Ella, who you've all met. She'd be shaking her head right now because for the first week after making that announcement, I couldn't sleep. I was agitated. I wasn't sure exactly how my decision was going to be accepted by the populations. Mm-hmm. But I've been absolutely shocked. I've had people emailing me, writing me, posting comments on our Case Branch website. 100%, except for one comment, 100% saying, "That a boy, good for the decision. Thank you for being bold and taking the stance. We'll be there because of this." And I'm shocked that it's such a positive response that we've had from our guests. And of course, I'm sure over time there will be some negative. There will be some people that'll say, "Well, I was planning on going to Case Branch, but not anymore." Mm-hmm. And I understand that is a chance that as a business I have to take. Mm-hmm. But so far it's been fantastic. So far we've had just a really, really good response.
Now, of course, other people in the sector may be watching you and saying, "Hey, mm-hmm. This has been a tough time for tourism. It's not the time to consider losing business for decisions like this."
Yeah. We can only hope that this decision will maintain our business or even benefit it. I don't know. But when you feel strong enough about something, when you care enough about the people that you work with, the people that come and put their trust in you as an establishment, then you have to take a stand for what you think is right. There's many people who say, "That guy's crazy, no way am I going to do that," and I appreciate that. But for me, this was the right decision. Not only for foreign tourists, but for the Belizeans themselves. We're having a huge problem in Belize right now. Mm-hmm. And during this pandemic, the Belizean public have supported us tremendously. Tremendously they supported us. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ensure that as we continue through this pandemic, that we're trying to keep everyone as safe as we can. And so this isn't just a decision made for our foreign market, but certainly our Belizean market as well.
I would assume that you as a business owner, but not only as a business owner, but also as a husband, as a Belizean, you also have your own personal convictions, if you would, about the vaccine?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm very, very opinionated.
A lot more opinionated than people are seeing right now.
Oh yeah. Yes, absolutely. And I'm very, very active on that front in social media as well.
Yeah.
I absolutely, totally, 100% believe in the vaccination program. As the world has supported vaccination programs for the last 75 years, 100 years. You know, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
I'll just mention this. Smallpox is a disease that has killed hundreds of millions of people over the centuries. As a matter of fact, it decimated the ancient population of Mexico. When the Spanish came over, I think they killed 25 million natives in Mexico at the time. The very first vaccination for smallpox was given in the 1700s. And over the next 300 years, it was improved and improved and improved. And I think it was in the 1960s, the United Nations, I think it was the 1960s, the United Nations made a front to support worldwide vaccinations in smallpox. And they so successfully vaccinated the people of the world that it's the only disease that's actually being eradicated. Mm-hmm. There is no smallpox anywhere in the world now for 20 years. Mm-hmm. I may not have my figures exactly right. Yeah. In Canada, the United States, and I know in Belize as well, for decades, before you start school, you have to have a vaccination program. Mm-hmm. In England and France, and all the European countries is exactly the same. I don't understand what the problem is. I just don't understand it. However, everyone does have their choice at this time. They have their choice. Mm-hmm. But I also have my choice. And if I want to protect my guests and my staff, and I of course live at Case Branch, so I'm also mingling every day with the guests, then my choice is to support those who are getting vaccinated in order to continue through this pandemic.
What's the status of vaccination for your staff?
Every single one of my staff have been fully vaccinated.
By choice?
By choice. By choice. I had one person who did not want to get vaccinated, and she resigned on her own. She just decided to resign rather than get vaccinated, although she was not told that she had to be vaccinated. Mm-hmm. She resigned. Mm-hmm. And so we didn't force anyone at all, but they all chose to be vaccinated. And I think that's because over the last 8, 9, 10 months, since the beginning of the pandemic, but mostly the last 10 months, we've been discussing with them on a regular basis. We're very interactive with our staff, discussing issues with them. And they all chose, they all elected on their own to get vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And so we have no employees. And our condition now is that if you become a new employee of Case Branch, you need to be fully vaccinated.
Yeah. So what's been the response from other people in the sector? You told us what some of the guests are saying, mm-hmm. but what about your colleagues in the sector?
Haven't spoken to any of my colleagues in the sector.
Yeah.
I didn't ask them what they thought. It mm-hmm. was a personal decision that I felt I had to make. Mm-hmm. And if they decide, mm-hmm. if they decide to do the same, then I congratulate them. But if they decide not to, then that's their choice. It's absolutely their choice.
So this mandate at your location is for Belizeans, both Belizeans and Americans, all visitors, correct? Yes. How does it work? Do they present their vaccine cards when they arrive, and how will that process work?
Our plans are is that before we confirm the reservation and take a deposit, they must provide us with proof of vaccine. And that vaccine, the name on that vaccine card, or some people are calling them vaccine passports, has to align with the name of the reservation. And of course, when they come into the airport right now, they are tested. And so that gives us a reasonable sense that when they arrive in Belize, that they are COVID-free.
What about children? You are a family destination.
We're a huge family destination, and we cannot ask for the children to be vaccinated, the children, because there's nowhere in the Western world that's vaccinating young children. And you see, by doing this is not diminishing our COVID protocol at Case Branch. We still have a very, very strict, heavy protocol at Case Branch, whether you're vaccinated or not, and that will continue after October 1st as well. So the requiring of vaccination is just one step of protecting our guests, as we've been doing for the last year and a half. Sanitation, social distancing, wearing masks in areas where there's other guests, self-protection. What I consider just common sense things. That is still continuing after October 1st, of course, if not even getting stronger.
And when you started, you said that you made the decision and you had sleepless nights, anticipating a negative reaction.
Yeah.
Why do you think that it wasn't as bad as you thought?
I think the kind of clientele that we attract, for the most part, to start with, are the type that are taking the vaccinations very seriously and taking COVID very, very seriously, rather than the opposite. We've been very, we've got a lot of guests, and part of the thinking process was actually talking to the guests that we've had for the last 3-4 months, asking them, what did they think? Would they appreciate having Caves Branch when they return a vaccination destination? And they all said yes. So, along with input from our guests and input from our staff, and just my own reasoning.
Does this include, as you're watching your cave,
Right, your
I mean, you have some
tours.
amazing
Yes.
tours.
Yes.
And it's not only accessed by people who stay on your property. Does that include your tours?
Actually, yes. All activities at Caves Branch are going to be requiring vaccination.
How does it feel for you being a trailblazer in this regard? How do you feel being a trailblazer?
I've never thought of it as a trailblazer. I was totally against the airport opening.
Yes, you
were.
When it did, because it didn't open when they were planning on it.
Yeah.
But at that time, the United States was just exploding with COVID, as it is again right now. It's like Belize; it's gone up and down and up and down. But every time it goes up, it goes higher. And as it turned out, they didn't open the airport at that time, and I was very happy about that. And we've really done a huge push in attracting our Belizean guests, as well as continuing to market to our U.S. guests as well. Yeah.
How much of your clientele has been Belize-based?
Since the pandemic
Yeah.
started, probably 60 to 70%, a huge percentage. We're very, very grateful, very, very grateful for the Belizean clientele.
I was just going to say that the win for your clientels in getting vaccinated and coming to your location is the amazing services you offer and the amazing accommodations you have and the tours. I mean, if you want to have this experience, then get vaccinated. Tell us about the experience that's offered there.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. I'm prejudiced, of course. Every once in a while, Ella and I will sit back and say, what is there to change about Caves Branch? What can we do different? And we've done this for 15 years, 16 years since we've been together. And every time we do that, the answer is nothing. It's just the way it should be. And we cannot think of anything that needs to be changed. Adjusted, amenities put in, things like this, just day-to-day, year-to-year improvements. But the atmosphere and our location, our compound, our gardens, we have one of the finest scientific botanical gardens in all of Central America. Our orchid house is phenomenal when it's blooming, and these are all open to the public. Our cheese house is very surprising for our guests. They say, well, you make 14 different kinds of cheeses at Caves Branch, and we get to eat them?
Yeah.
But you know, the what I'm proud of the most is the experience that we offer to people. You know, a lot of our guests, not all of them, but a lot of them, you can see day by day as they go through the adventures. They walk a little bit straighter, they hold their head up a little bit higher, their shoulders back a little bit more, and they have a level of excitement and self-confidence that increases day by day. And that doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter whether they're an 8-year-old or whether they're a 78-year-old. And we do a lot of business with multi-generational reservations, meaning grandchildren, parents, and grandparents all coming together. And seeing that transition in people from experiencing or from living through, shall we say, surviving our experiences at Caves Branch is very fulfilling for me. Seeing that we're offering an experience to guests where they feel better about themselves, when they go home more self-confident, and hoping that improvement in their self-confidence by accomplishing the feats that we send them on, the adventures, I hope that it helps their life go forward. And I know some people might say, well, that sounds really corny, but that is what I'm proudest of altogether. And of course, our accommodations, we have some of the most spectacular. Our tree houses are, beautiful, beautiful. The views are one in a million. I mean, you're 300 feet off the river looking across the jungle vista. And in the morning when you have the low cloud and the fog is coming in, and then the sunset at night. The sunrises you don't see because that's way behind you. But
You get the sunsets.
you get the sunsets.
Ian, we're fresh off the announcement from the Prime Minister last night on the newest restrictions on movement.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're up to date. And so while the rest of the country will have an earlier curfew, tourist destinations like San Pedro, Kikaka, and Placencia will still maintain the existing curfew.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
What's my response specifically to what?
What are your thoughts on it?
On what?
On the exemptions for tourist areas?
I really don't know. I truly do not know. We have to, in order to move our economy and keep people employed and paychecks as much as possible. Not everyone, of course, works in tourism, but the ones that do, we have to try to keep them employed and the businesses running. And when I say that, I'm not talking about companies making profits right now. I'm talking about companies just paying their staff and paying their bills. And I can assure you that Caves Branch has not been making any profit because we've been offering 50 and 60% discounts across the board. And at the best, your bottom line profit is usually only 20%. So we've learned how to work within this COVID. So these companies need to survive in order to keep my 85 staff employed. And in these tourism areas of Kikaka and San Pedro and Placencia, which are tourism based, and a lot of the people work in tourism, we have to keep that moving forward too. So I know it's a double standard. I get it. I really do. What's the answer? I really don't know, other than for the benefit of those tourism employees in those areas and the businesses to keep them going, there has to be some type of allowance, I feel. But in the end, I don't know if I'm right or not.
Well, I mean, it's not right or wrong, it's just your opinion,
Yeah.
and a very honest one at that, because some properties like yours are more all-inclusive. You won't have some, are inclusive, everything is
Yes.
available there.
Yeah.
And in some destinations, you go from, a family diner to a breakfast joint to the ice cream
Yeah.
shop, all in one day.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Our packages, for those who want to be on a package, is all inclusive. You have your meals at Case Branch, you do your adventures at Case Branch, you stay at Case Branch, you drink at Case Branch. They're all included in a package.
Party at the pool.
Yeah. Social distancing, though.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my question. How challenging is it to maintain the protocols when people come? Once you have dinner and had drinks, it's difficult.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been difficult because of the type of guests that we have.
Okay.
We've had one problem guest who actually punched his thumb into my chest a couple of weeks ago, saying, "You can't make me, wear a mask. I'd been vaccinated," kind of attitude. Unfortunately, it was very scary. Now, I don't know if he was or not, or whether he was just being difficult. But he left the next morning.
Did he?
Yeah.
So moving forward, it's very clear from what you said. You're making this decision. You're moving forward with it come October 1st. It doesn't matter if other people do it. It doesn't matter whether or not you have cancellations, because you said you're fully booked and you're waiting to see whether or not there'll be any reaction.
Well, what I said is that we're fully booked at Christmas.
Christmas,
Yes.
sorry,
Yeah.
for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've been in contact with all of our guests, and they've all confirmed that their reservation still stands.
Mm-hmm.
So we are very positive about the whole decision, very, very positive about it.
So what do you say to the public who, it's interesting when you think about it, because I have heard of the position that you're taking, that other businesses would like to do the same, but they know that they face opposition.
Well, the reason I was hesitating a number of minutes ago is that the Belize Museum, the Cucumber Beach, what's that organization?
All Belize.
Oh,
Oh,
Belize.
Belize,
All
yes.
right.
They have already taken the decision, to my understanding.
Yes, they have.
And I applaud them for that. I think they were the groundbreaker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I had already been thinking about it when I heard that Old Belize had done it. And I know the Woods family, and I respect them. And I just thought it was a good decision.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of my thinking process as well. Mm-hmm. And again, we have to protect our guests, and we have to protect our staff, and we have to protect the country.
Okay.
So here we are.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming in and telling us all about it. The first hotel to be able to enforce only fully vaccinated persons being allowed to book and use the facilities there.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you too. And I think it'll be comfort to quite a few who want a safe place. And we wish you the best. We know everyone is trying to survive right now.
Yes. And thank you very much for having me.
All right. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by the ambassador of the European Union to Belize. So please stay tuned.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.